This is a short 15-minute sequence for ladies over 40 who haven't slept well last night, but you need some energy for the day ahead. Find a comfortable seat on your mat, just rolling that neck out gently before we begin Nadi Shodhana. So taking the right thumb and the right forefinger, we're going to take the thumb to the nose and breathe in through the left nostril, cover the left nostril, and then out through the right nostril. In through the right nostril, cover the right nostril, out through the left nostril. It's very energizing. It's going to give us a great start to our practice. And just continue to do this, alternating covering the nostrils with the thumb and the forefinger. In through the right, cover, out through the left. In through the left, cover, out through the right. In through the right, cover, out through the left. And just continue at your own pace. A few neck stretches now, so clasping the hands behind the head and taking the chin towards the chest, being sure not to overextend here, but enjoying that release in the upper back, the neck, and clasping the hands together and tipping the chin up towards the sky, looking up towards the third eye. Now we're going to release the side of the neck. So with the left hand, grasping the side of the head, and with the right hand, pulling down on the right shoulder. Feel free to adjust your hands, feeling around to where the tension sits, changing over sides when it feels appropriate. So pulling in opposite directions, again, being gentle with yourself, just opening and releasing that neck and shoulder area. Just edging with the fingertips, pulling the head away from the shoulder. Then we're going to take the palms of the hands together, pushing out and just edging through opposite shoulders, left, right, and coming into a seated cat curl, holding onto the knees, looking up towards the sky, chest out, navel in, rocking backwards, arching that back, up again. And now we're going to come onto all fours into Bidalasana or table pose. And from here, we're going to do some cat curls. So taking the navel down towards the mat, looking up towards the sky. And on the exhale, we're going to arch that back up like a cat, looking towards the navel. So really taking those shoulders and back up. And on the inhale, looking up towards the third eye, taking that navel down towards the mat. And flowing back again, arching up into the spine. And gently flowing down, navel towards the mat, looking up between the eyebrows. Exhale as you curl under, looking towards the navel. Inhale as the navel comes towards the mat and you look up towards the third eye again. Exhale and just curling in your own time here. Inhale. We look up towards the sky. Exhale, arching that back. And we're going to come into child's pose, flowing into a mini vinyasa. So arching that back, we come back, we take the buttocks back to the heels, and then we slide along the mat, coming up, arching back, buttocks towards the heels, sliding the chest along the mat, looking up and arching, buttocks towards the heels. Sliding forward, looking up, arching back, buttocks towards the heel. And this is just opening up and releasing every vertebrae of the spine, which is fantastic for waking us up in the morning. Just getting rid of all those nighttime niggles. And we're going to arch, looking towards that navel. And we're going to extend the right arm out and thread it through into thread the needle. So taking those right fingers as far away from the body as possible. Just enjoying this release in the side body. Just rest here for a moment. And then we're going to change over sides. Looking up. looking down, extending the left hand and threading it through, resting the side of the head on the mat, palm facing up. And just taking a few breaths here, again enjoying that side release. Continuing to breathe in and out through the nose, inhale equaling the exhale. We're now going to pop up into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So coming onto the tip of the toes, bending the knees, taking alternating knees, threading them through underneath the body. Shoulders back and down away from the ears, slight bend in the elbows so they don't lock out. The goal is not to get the heels onto the mat here, guys. We are opening up, we're waking up the legs, the calves, the thighs, the glutes. Just opening up, feeling that gorgeous stretch in the lower body. Pulling up from the sit bones. Wiggling your bum, just releasing the coccyx, psoas, and just alternating heels, just enjoying that release. And the more we do this, the more we feel the entire body stretching, waking, opening up. So just play with your doggy. And then we're going to walk those feet forward. And we're going to come into standing forward bend. Just placing the hands on the mat if you can. If you need to bend the knees here, it's okay. And we can come into Dolasana, or pendulum pose. So crossing the arms and allowing the weight to come through the top of the head. And we can do a gentle bounce or sway here. And coming onto the tips of the fingers, just taking that to the right side. Really enjoying that twist around the midsection. We come back to centre, placing those hands flat on the ground. Again, I would rather you kept the hands on the ground and bent the knees. Here we can take the hands to the calves if it's available to us. Coming onto the tips of the fingers, bending those knees down, and we're coming into Uttanasana or chair pose. So we're going to do 3 rounds of this, centre, side and side, but if you have to straighten the legs in between, that's no problem. So we're taking into prayer position and turning to the right side. As I said, if you have to come up and straighten the legs, that's okay. Looking up towards the sky, elbow pressing against towards the knee, really twisting into that. Back to centre. Again, you can stand and straighten here. And changing over to the right side. Elbow pushing against the knee, looking up towards the sky. Back to centre, coming up. Slight back bend. And then we're going to come into Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana 2. Raising the fingertips up to the sky. Front knee should be just above the ankle, lengthening through the tips of the fingers, looking forward, and then taking that left hand down towards the calf, raising up and over into reverse warrior pose. Really stretching through those fingertips. Taking the hands down either side of the foot, taking that foot back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, bending the knees, wiggling the sit bones, alternating heels again, really feeling how much more open you're becoming as the practice progresses. If you can take the heels down to the mat now, that's great. Shoulders back and down away from the ears, making sure we don't lock those elbows. Feel free to move in the doggy, taking the left foot forward, hands, fingertips pointing up to the sky, looking upwards. Warrior 2. Lengthening through the tips of those fingers. Body centered between the 2 hips. And then taking that hand down towards the calf, lengthening through the tips of the fingers, looking upwards into reverse warrior. And remember to breathe in and out through the nose. Taking those hands down either side of the foot. And taking that right foot back again into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Wiggling those hips, the sit bones. Feeling how much more open the back of the body is now. The spine, the glutes, the calves, the thighs. Extending, lengthening, waking up that body. And just shaking the head side to side, continuing to release and open that neck. Walking the feet forward, placing the hands on the mat. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Allow the weight of the body to come through the top of the head. If we can hold the back of the shins, bending those knees and straightening as we want. Trying to get those legs as straight as is comfortable. Coming onto the tips of the fingers, coming up to standing position. Opening back bend. And from here, we're going to come into seated position, coming into Baddha Konasana, or cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet together, taking the heels as close to the groin as possible, shoulders back and down, taking the feet into a basket with the hands, lengthening through the top of the head. We're going to walk those hands forward if it's available. We can take the forehead down to the mat, we can take it on to the clasped hands, or we can gently lengthen the head towards the end of the mat, stretching that back out again, opening up those hips. Our hips hold so much tension, we can butterfly those knees to open the hips further. Just edging backwards and forwards, opening and releasing all those emotions, tensions, worries for the days ahead. And now we're going to come into a twist. So we're going to take the left leg over the right, and we're going to take the knee to the elbow. If we can clasp the hands behind the knee, that's fantastic. Don't worry if you can't. Pushing the elbow against the knee is just as effective. And we're going to twist and look over that back shoulder. Remember to breathe in and out through the nose. Changing over sides. Taking that left leg over the right. Pressing the right elbow against the left knee. And if you can, clasping behind the back and looking over the back shoulder. Continuing to twist as you breathe in and out through the nose. Inhale, equaling the exhale. Calm, steady breathing. Releasing the length of the spine as we twist. Coming back to center, our final position, we're going to come into seated forward bend. Raising the hands up to the sky, lengthening through the tips of the fingers. We can clasp the feet or the big toes, whatever works better for you. And we're going to lengthen through the top of the head. So we're not working towards the knees, we are working our head towards the feet. So looking between the big toes, okay? And just lengthening out that back. Pulling on the big toes, pushing away with the feet, straightening the legs as much as possible. And from here, we're going to come into our final resting pose, Savasana. Just returning to normal breathing now. Relaxing, releasing, allow the toes to splay out, palms facing the sky. Breathing in, breathing out. Crossing the feet over, jumping towards standing position, and we're ready to tackle the day.